Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be looking at the AFC South. So we already looked at the AFC East and the AFC North yesterday. Uh, Check those out if you haven't already. They're very in-depth videos where I talk about, every team in each division. It's going to be the same type of thing. We're just going to look at all four teams in the AFC South and predict their whole schedule. So real quick before we get started, make sure you go down there, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on the noties to make sure you don't miss whenever we upload. We do college football, NFL, NBA, college basketball, and MLB. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure you subscribe and turn on the noties. Like this video if you enjoyed. Real quick, links in the description as always: X, Twitch, TikTok, Discord. Make sure you follow and join all of those. With all that being said, though, we're gonna start with the worst team in the AFC South and work our way up to the top. So the team that I do think will finish last in this division is going to be the Tennessee Titans. I just think roster-wise they have the weakest team here. Will Levis is the starting quarterback there. They lose Derrick Henry. They do bring in Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley, so I'm interested to see how they look because that's not a bad, team. Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Tony Pollard. Will Levis, I'm definitely interested to see how he plays this year. I think he could be in for a solid season. I think defensively the Titans aren't going to be anything special. Honestly, a pretty weak defense in my opinion. But looking at the schedule, I don't think they're winning against the Bears in Soldier Field week 1. I do think they beat the Jets, though. Like I said when we did the AFC East, there's just weird games like this early in the year where there'll be teams that'll just win games that they're clearly worse, outmatched. The Titans are not better than the Jets, but I feel like they're just going to win this one. I don't think they're going to beat the Packers. I don't think they can pull it off back-to-back weeks. In Miami, I don't think they will beat the Dolphins. Coming out of the bye, they have a pretty early bye. Coming out of the bye, I think they'll beat the Colts at home. I think the Colts are going to be a pretty solid team this year, but I think at home, coming off the bye, they get it done. In Buffalo and in Detroit, back-to-back, those are two really tough games. I don't think they win either of those. Home against the Patriots, I do think they'll lose. This could definitely be a game they win, but I got to find some wins for the Patriots. I said this in my AFC East preview. It's hard to find wins for them. I had them going 3-14. I think this is a game they could win, so I gave it to them. In Los Angeles against the Chargers, I think Justin Herbert is going to, have games where he's just going to take over, and I really don't think the Titans will have an answer for him, so I think they lose that game. But I think they beat Minnesota at home here in Week 11. In Houston against the Texans, that's going to be a loss, unfortunately. But I do think they can beat the Commanders. I just feel like Will Levis is going to have some of these games where he's just going to show that, he's going to show some flashes this year, I think. So I'll pick the Titans to beat the Commanders here. But looking at our next week, I think they'll actually beat the Jags at home. I think they can win that game. So I've been winning three games in a 4-game stretch. Pretty solid. For the Titans at least, because I have them going last in this division. But closing out the year, they got a pretty tough schedule. Bengals, I think that's going to be a loss, unfortunately. At the Colts and at the Jaguars, I already have them beating the Jags and the Colts at home, so I don't think they're going to sweep either of these teams. I think they'll split with them, and I don't think they'll beat the Texans week 18. So I have them going 5-12, and yeah, that's not a great record, but I think it is realistic at least for this Titans team. But looking at our next team, it is going to be the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars definitely could finish second in this division, and they're kind of a wild card for me because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like some people aren't really giving them that much credit. I mean, do they really lose a lot? No, I just think teams around them have gotten better. In all honesty, I really don't think they've gotten necessarily worse. They lose Calvin Ridley, but they still have Christian Kirk. They still have Evan Ingram. Travis Etienne's only getting better. Same with Trevor Lawrence. They still got Josh Allen, or Josh Hines Allen, I guess now is his name, on defense. I think that he's still on the Jaguars, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, yeah, they still got a lot of guys. It's just like, I feel like people are just, I don't know. I feel like people, I guess, are overlooking the Jags, but when you look at the schedule, it's actually a pretty tough schedule. So I guess maybe that's why. I don't know. The Jags, though, I mean, they made the playoffs. They won the division not last year, but I think the year before that. So I don't think they're a bad team. I guess it's just tough schedule, and the teams around them in their division, I think, are getting better. So they kind of just been left in the dust. I feel like Trevor Lawrence hasn't been what they would want him to be at this point in his career. So week 1 at Miami, I think that's going to be a loss. I think they'll beat the Browns week 2, though. I think they can definitely win that game. But in Buffalo and in Houston, that's going to be 2 losses for me. I think they'll beat the Colts, though, in week 5. In Chicago against the Bears, I think that's going to be a loss. Home against the Patriots, I'll give them a win there. I don't think they'll beat the Packers or the Eagles. But I think they could beat the Vikings at home, so I'll give them a win there. In Detroit against the Lions, that's going to be a loss. Coming out of the bye, they play the Texans. I do think the Texans have them there. At the Titans, it's going to be a loss. Home against the Jets, that's also going to be a loss. On the road against the Raiders, this one could go either way. I'll give it to the Jags. I think they can win that. I think they'll beat the Titans week 17, and then on the road against the Colts, I don't think they'll win that game. So I'm going 6-11. And like I said, I don't think the Jags are a bad team whatsoever. I could see them going anywhere from 9-8 to like 5-12. So this is more closer to their floor. They just pretty tough schedule, and like I said, I feel like just teams have passed them up, and they've kind of just been left. I feel like maybe they make some moves. I don't know. We'll see. This is what I have for the Jags, though. But looking at the second place team in this division, that's going to be the Colts. And the Colts are one of the teams that I feel like people are kind of sleeping on a little bit. I mean, you look at this offense: Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman. They draft Adonai Mitchell. I think he's going to be very good. They have Josh Downs still there. This isn't a bad offense whatsoever. I think it really just comes down to, can Anthony Richardson stay healthy? And if he does stay healthy, how good will he be? Because we really didn't see him much last year. And from what we did see, he did look pretty good. But, he was injured most of the year. So this is his real rookie season, I guess you could say. And, yeah, I'm very interested to see how he'll play. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. I'll say that. Week 1 against the Texans, though, I think the Texans just come out a little bit I think the Texans win this game. Just week 1, getting the jitters out. I think the Texans are the better team. In Lambeau, that's going to be a loss for me. I think they'll beat the Bears at home, though. I definitely think they can win that game. Home against the Steelers, I think the Steelers will get it there. I just think they're more physical on the lines of scrimmage. At the Jags and at the Titans, it's going to be 2 back-to-back losses. So I have them starting out pretty slow. I have them starting out 1-5. But it picks up. I actually have them starting 1-6, I guess. Well, I guess I have them starting 1-7. This first week 8. Through week 8, first 8 weeks, this is a tough schedule. So I have them starting out 1-7, which is not good at all. But I think at the second half of the season, if Anthony Richardson's still healthy, which there's no way for me to predict that, so I'm assuming he is, I think they really pick it up and get it going. I think on the road against the Vikings, I think that'll be a win. I think they upset the Bills at home. I think Anthony Richardson starts to figure things out. At the Jets, it's going to be a tough game just because of how good their defense is, and I think the Lions are just better. But closing out the season, on the road against the Patriots, going to be a win. Coming out of the bye, on the road against the Broncos, they're much better than the Broncos. I think they'll win. I think they'll beat the Titans at home. I think they'll beat the Giants on the road, and I think they'll beat the Jaguars at home. So I'm closing out the season winning their last 5 games, winning 7 of their last 9. So I'm going 8-9. I think the Colts will have a very underrated season this year. I feel like people aren't talking about them as much as they should be. Because like I said, this offense on paper is actually pretty solid. So, but like I said, interested to see how good Anthony Richardson will be this year, because it really all depends on him and his health. But if he is healthy, I'm very intrigued to watch some Colts games this year. But looking at our first place team, I don't think this is any surprise. It's going to be the Houston Texans. I have them going 6-0 in the division. And yeah, I just feel like they're far and away the best team in this division, to be honest with you. When you look at this receiving core, maybe the best in the league. Nico Collins really exploded last year. Same with Tank Dell. He's going into his second year. They bring in Diggs now, so they have a real big 3 there. They also bring in Joe Mixon, so he's definitely an interesting player to see, how will he play, because he is getting up there in age, but we will see how they utilize him. I'm definitely interested to see. They still got Damian Pierce and, CJ Stroud, phenomenal rookie season. I think he'll be in the contention for the MVP this year. I think that's how good he is, and I think that's how good he will be. And yeah, defensively, they have a very solid defense. Will Anderson's going into his second year, so definitely looking to see where he goes. Derek Stingley's a young guy. They're a very young team still, but man, they really showed out last year. I think they'll only expand on that. So looking at the schedule, I think they'll win week 1 against the Colts. I think they beat the Bears week 2. I think they'll beat the Vikings on the road week 3. I think they beat the Jags at home, and I think they beat the Bills at home. I really do. I think this Texans team is locked in this year. On the road against the Patriots, that's also going to be a win. I think this is a tough game. I could see the Packers winning, but I actually have the Texans winning. And I know it shows them 11-0 right now. I promise you I don't have them undefeated. I do have them starting out pretty solid, though. I have them starting out 8-0. But the second half of their schedule is a lot tougher. In all honesty, this isn't a tough first 8 games like how the Colts was. It's kind of the opposite of the Colts. I think they'll win on the road against the Packers, and I do think they'll beat the Colts at home. I think on the road against the Jets, that's going to be a tough game. I think they'll lose. I think home against the Lions, I think that could go either way. I'll say the Lions win that one because, like I said, I don't think they're going to win. I think week 10, I forget if I already said this, sorry. I had to do something, so I had to pause the recording, but I think the Lions will get them week 10. I think on the road against the Cowboys, this is going to be a very tough game. I do think they'll win just because I can't see them losing 3 in a row. I just think they're a better team than that. I think they'll beat the Titans at home. I think they'll beat the Jags on the road. This division isn't very good, so I feel like the Texans in division play will have a pretty easy, time. Home against the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins will win. I just feel like matchup-wise, they can match this. This will be a very good game. I mean, look at this 3-game stretch to close out the season. On the road against the Chiefs in Arrowhead, I think that's going to be a loss, and Mahomes gets them there. I think the Ravens just match up too well defensively. I think they can slow them down, and I think the Texans' defense will struggle against Lamar and the Ravens. But I think they close out the season with a win against the Titans. So I have them going 12-5. I believe I have them as the 3 seed in the playoffs, so that's, it's not going to be accurate just because none of these are filled out. None of these teams are going to be making the playoffs, unfortunately. But I do think the Texans will get in as the 3 seed. But yeah, that's going to do it for the AFC South prediction and preview video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you go down there, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and turn on the noties to make sure you don't miss whenever we post. Like I said, we do college basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, and MLB. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure you get on there, subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below your predictions for this division, what you disagree, what you agree. Just let me know. Love to debate in the comments. Links in the description. X, Twitch, TikTok, Discord. Follow all those, join those, whatever you would like to do. With all that being said, though, make sure you go check out the other previews out on the channel. They'll be popping up on the screen now. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy this one. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with the AFC West preview. Thank you for watching.